explaining generic hours. So he should have finished it because and I got that. But I didn't get it with that.
Hey, welcome, stranger. Did you have a good vacation?
He's still on vacation, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's
I was glad I had some choice. 2011 charged, just what it was recording for 2010.
And we're back.
Okay, bring this meeting to order. It's 6 p.m. This is a special meeting, July 21st. The Clear Creek Community Services System. Thanks for coming to the meeting. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, it's open time. Item number 3 on the agenda.
Good evening, I'm Beverly Fickus. So I have 3 main concerns. So concern number 1 was these agendas that we post for meetings have to be a little bit more specific. I have not been home all day, so I couldn't pull out my brown napkin and read it and come with the code on there. But by just saying general manager recruitment, what the heck does that mean? Does that mean that you're going to interview? Does it mean you're doing something different? Is it when you say that, it tells us nothing. So agendas have to be a little bit more specific. Same thing with labor negotiations. You write labor negotiation. You don't say it's a discussion. You don't say it's in regards to this. We believe in labor negotiations. You're going to go in there and discuss a labor negotiation contract because you say labor negotiations under a closed hearing. If it's just referring to you going back and reporting on your labor negotiation meeting that you had separately, that's one thing. Then it needs to be referred to as discussion. So very, very frustrated when I see these come out with no explanation because, oh my gosh, what does this mean? There's been lawsuits on this. So, and I've got that data somewhere, but because the board was not clear in this particular case of what the meetings were about, you're not being transparent. So that has to be explained a little bit more in detail. We don't need to know the specifics, but you have to explain what these hearings are that you're going into closed session about. So that was number 2. Number 3 is, I just happened to go in this morning to look to see if there was any additional meetings being held. And oh my gosh, what do I see when I go to look for board agendas? What's there? July 11th. That's what it showed, July 11th when I opened up the agenda. And you know what I had to do? I had to scroll and then there was July 21st. And I went, oh my gosh, that's tonight. And this also then, I don't know who went to the Board of Supervisors meeting, so did I, and then we had to end it early because of that, because of this. So there was a little bit of misplanning with that. So I'm frustrated, so you can hear my frustration. I'm just a little bit irritated. Doesn't matter who set it up. It could have been done maybe a little bit differently. I don't know the time frame, but nobody got to speak. And you know that they talked about Clear Creek several times at that Board of Supervisors meeting this afternoon. So we didn't get an opportunity to go up there and say, they keep thinking we've got water. So that's my say.
And that's fine. I understand what you're saying. What I realized when I looked at this was that what I would do is not go into the back without making specific references to the general manager recruitment process, which just changed today, as a matter of fact. And as far as the labor negotiations, to make a clarification, but what I'll do is we'll close open time, and I can address all 3 of those. And the other thing I'll say is that I considered calling you with regards to this special meeting, so that you would know that we had a special meeting.
Nobody would have been here tonight, folks. Not a single one of us would have been here. Maybe somebody, but I don't think so. I just happened to catch it, thinking I better go in and take a look, because who knows? So yes, Bill normally does. Bill's been on vacation. Bill normally will let me know ahead of time. You know, he does. So I thank him for that. You know, he does do that. But he's on vacation. But special meetings are in that regard. But again, even if you called to let me know, or even if you decided to talk about it later to explain what it is you're going into closed session for, it's supposed to be on the agenda. I'll find it if you want me to.
No, I understand.
But,
I understand.
you know, so,
And I assume that when you found out about this with an email that you received, that you would.
I did not, and I was remiss in, spreading the word out to the.
So that was an assumption of my part.
I got lazy and assumed you had been checking the site like we always had been. In response to her request, possibly a memorandum attached to the agenda. We've done those, it's supposed to be done in board meetings. Maybe it creates a little more work for staff, I don't know. But a memorandum can be added to an agenda and put online to clarify a few things that don't divulge the things we discuss in closed session. Is that correct?
I typically don't put anything on the memo, on the memorandum for closed session.
Okay,
I
well,
mean, what am I supposed to say?
I'm trying to address the concerns of the public.
No, I understand.
And come up with a way so that in the future, this doesn't happen again.
I didn't set this meeting.
Okay.
I'm
okay.
not blaming you, I'm looking for solutions.
Okay, I have a question. In the past, we've always put these at the stores to let the people know. Do we still do that?
Yes.
Okay,
I wasn't
thank you.
here for
No.
this, so I don't know what got published, and I know it's
Right.
on the website, and I
Yeah.
know it's on the front door.
I
Yeah.
posted them.
You posted them in town?
Yeah.
So they
Thank
went to all the required and
Right.
generally posted places.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Who, is there someone, is it you normally, Bill, that goes in and updates the website?
No.
No? Whose responsibility is that?
Well, we all share the responsibility, but,
I was not sick until today this week.
Yep.
And so
Anyway, I just question because
this
she
month
mentioned
will-
something that I went
Yeah,
to look
this
at it and it
month
was
will be-
confusing to me.
hasn't been here.
did
I
you guys see
updated
this?
the Website.
I mean, I just walked in and got an agenda and I looked at it.
What we did.
Did you guys see this?
We coordinated.
Yeah, it was online.
Yes.
Right, but did you guys help
With
craft this agenda?
No, that was personnel committee.
Okay.
Erwin and myself and Kristen coordinated this. We started Monday, got it posted Tuesday, so that we would have the 48 hours. That was our process.
it's 72.
72. Yeah.
We need 72 hours.
And it was, I believe it was 72 hours.
That's 48.
Well, isn't there a difference between a general meeting and a special meeting?
An emergency meeting.
What is a special meeting?
I mean, you can have a regular, you can have a non-emergency special meeting, and I believe it's 72 hours. That's what,
Back when we were doing the negotiations, what we agreed to was to be able to have that as a clause. I'm not saying we did that this time, but Erwin wanted an emergency meeting possible with regards to that, and then we introduced that.
This is not an emergency meeting, and so we needed 72 hours.
Okay, and was this 72 hours?
No, it's
No,
48, you said it's
48.
supposed to Tuesday. Today's Thursday, that's only 2 days, 48 hours.
All we can do is apologize and do better.
Do you accept that?
Yeah.
We apologize.
Well, we're here, we found it, we saw it finally. Thanks, Bev.
Okay, so let's just leave, we can do back and forth a little bit here, and I can start making some clarifications. What I realized in order for me to even figure out how we got to where we are today, with regards to some of the activities that I've been involved in, what I did was I printed, and I went all the way back to the regular meeting on April the 27th. Because we've had so many changes, whether it was, Dave Zaldana, who resigned, Cedric resigning, Patty being appointed, Scott being appointed. It gets a little confusing with all of the changes that we've had so far. And in addition to that, what we agreed to in negotiations, so I'm going to switch to clarification on negotiation. We agreed to negotiations. We now have a signed ground rules document. Erwin signed when Bill, Chad, and myself and Erwin were present. Steve Allen had an emergency come up, so he wasn't there. Erwin's had an emergency and he has missed 2 meetings. And one of the things that I insisted on was that whoever was available to come at the designated time on a fixed date, that what we would do is that we would get together and coordinate and talk and to figure out how to work with ground rules. Get those signed. And in addition to that, my request was that what we would have is a proposal that we received from the employees as a basis to discuss. Steve Allen was willing, without a written request, to provide a document that we can review in closed session with regards to their first proposal. Just a rough outline, let's say, of how we're gonna, where we'd start. Let's say maybe what their most logical first item is. It's good that Bill's here. We've got everyone except Erwin. Maybe he'll show up after a while. That's just, so we have stuck with our dates. I don't know if you really want a number on how many times we've gotten together, and now at this point what we've got is a proposal. There are no more negotiation sessions agreed to at this time.
We'll probably need to respond to their proposal.
We've got some information, and we might be back here for a little while, and I realized when I was looking at the agenda that what I don't like, what I've never liked, is that we go into closed session, we don't have an attorney here tonight, so that's good news. So we can go in, we'll be there a while, and then you know where we stand with regards to the labor negotiations.
So Chuck, wouldn't a good update on the agenda have been Personnel Committee to update General Board on
That's
an
fine.
account? That's not specific, but it is letting us know what you're going to do, and we wouldn't, in closed session, and we wouldn't have been here, because, upset because we didn't know what the heck you were doing, because we can't trust you.
And I understand, when I looked at that, I realized that myself, and that's where for myself what I realized. And see, we're also trying to get this posted to be within the timelines of the 72 hours. So now we've got Kristen, and Kristen has got this. These things happen at the last minute, and we're scrambling around, and then we're trying to get something done. And if I could have avoided it, then no, we wouldn't have had this on the same day as
That's fine.
the hearing.
That's fine, that's all we would like to know.
That's a good suggestion, man.
The general manager recruitment changed from the last time that we were here. And it's a little difficult for me to be specific about it. I am thrilled that Bill is here And then we've also had a, development today with regards to, where we're gonna go from here.
Leave it at that.
I understand. So I apologize, and we've got a lot going on.
Okay, can we get-
Was that acceptable? I did okay.
Actually, we need to see if there's any other public comment.
Any other public comments?
My name is Sarah Bennett.
Little louder, please, Sarah.
Sarah Bennett, sorry. And then I was just to follow up on what Beverly had brought up regarding the negotiation. My concern was that the last negotiation, the last document signed by the district was with the CCEA, and now it's with UPEC. So just was wondering when that transpired.
Okay, and I have a document that was provided to me, and I'm probably gonna need some clarification from Bill whether or not I can, whether that's public information or not.
I don't know about.
It was announced in a board meeting that the staff had decided to join the union.
Yeah, so, mid 2021, last
Yes.
summer, we went from the Employee Association to UPEC.
That was provided to me.
And that was a Zoom meeting, and it was in the middle of the day, so if you missed it, that's likely why.
Okay.
Right, but it was public information.
Okay. Then, is the district still operating currently under the old CCEA contract
Yes.
until that one is, okay, that was my second one. And then, I think Scott, we just wanted to, I don't want to say your name. We're just concerned with, past negotiations. The contract that's in hand currently, there are some fiscally irresponsible things to it. Which is why the district's in such a place right now that we need to be fiscally responsible. I mean, that's why Beverly checks the website all the time, and all of us show up all the time. So there's just like, we're coming from a background of mistrust. And so we're not coming at the employees for anything. I worked for a union for over 10 years, and I was a shop steward for 14. So I totally get union and why they're necessary, to be honest with you. But does the district have, I understand the personnel board works in the negotiations, personnel committee works with the negotiations. Do they run it by an attorney, or do they run it by the full board for approval, or how does the approval actually happen? And then if it does go to the full board to approval, financially, is there a financial forecast for, in regards to some of the promises that are already in the contract?
We are working on any and all of that currently. And yes, it's my understanding that an attorney would review the MOU.
You're a district attorney, not,
Correct.
because Steve's your guys' rep, so I get that.
Actually, to be perfectly clear, I'm now management.
Oh, sorry,
Right.
So-
Steve is your guys' rep.
And Kristen's, and
I will say that I know that unions have, since COVID happened, because I did work for the union while COVID went into effect, they are very adept at working with, if they can't get to a meeting, scheduling a Zoom meeting. And things actually can be signed electronically. They don't necessarily have to be signed in person anymore. So if it's a matter of meeting face to face for people, that shouldn't be what stops people. It should, I mean, it can totally be, it's completely legal to be done electronically now. So if that ever pops up, that's not a valid reason.
if the public has concerns about the existing MOU or aspects, I'm more than happy to entertain them. Look at what your concerns are. We'll address through the negotiations the best we can.
Okay.
But
So who do we propose, so if I was to review and just say, this language is pretty open-ended and probably will.
It has to come back to, excuse me for interrupting, but it does come back to the public, and your comments are welcome and you will have a chance to participate in that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I understand, and I appreciate that. I mean, there's just some classes that are open-ended, and I understand how it was the last manager that did it, so it was to his benefit, so.
What I will say is that what we were able to do by using all of the days with whoever showed up, and keep in mind as well that Cedric was the first person who was called the chief negotiator, and then Cedric left. So then what we did was that Erwin was, let's call it, the person who signs on the document. So we had a break there, and then we started again, and we were able to break through and to get what we've got tonight.
And unless you've gone through negotiations and actually handled negotiations and actually a legal document and how binding they can be, it should be up to a chief negotiator to make the final say or to sign the document without, even signing ground rules
We
cannot be
understand
done.
that, we do.
Okay.
The board had a chance to see the ground rules and approve them. Okay, so say that, but you're right. No one person's gonna be the final say.
Not with a full board. I mean, you guys have 5 members, so
Yes.
I mean, it does have to go between all of you to at least be able to see, and even if it's sent electronically, that's fine now. So it just is, we've come far as, and I'm watching the ACID community go through the same thing we did, that we started. So I can understand, I have friends who go to their board meetings now, and it's a long road to get forward, to start behind, which is what we did. So we're just asking just to post the notices clear, and I understand it was a hurry, I get it, that happens. But as long as we just keep working together, because when it happens, when it all of a sudden it's up there, we're like, wait a second. We tried to bamboozle.
Well, that was my mistake, I should have called.
I felt like Scooby-Doo mystery right there, so.
You worked with union negotiations before, I'm assuming, so you know
10
that
years
there
ago,
is
10
a
years
chief
ago.
negotiator for each side, so that
No.
you don't have a lot of different
No,
voices.
There's actually teams, there can be chief negotiator, but there can be actually a full team.
Okay,
So it could be a union rep and employees rep, so there could be 1 or 2 employees for the employee side. And then for the district side, there's either an attorney or there's the board.
And let me be more specific. Both Erwin and myself talked to the people for negotiation. And the only reason why we've got Erwin designated is that Erwin theoretically would be the person who presents the proposal.
My hesitation with that, and I will speak with him directly too, because I have had an exchange with him directly before, is he actually was one of the signers from this document
right.
that has some problems to it. So
There are 2 sides to the negotiation.
oh, I agree, I've been on both sides, I was a shop steward for 14 years.
So you understand we have to listen to the concerns.
Quite literally, I know both sides.
So, good.
So it's not it's a unique position I'm in to be able to speak with you from the podium to say, I completely understand both sides.
Good.
And it is a dance, and it's called a proposal
Yep.
and a counter proposal. So you guys are waiting to give your counter proposals back. So that's what they are. But that's where we are. We're not wanting to feel like all of a sudden there's a
No, we're,
24-hour notice and we're putting through
No.
something that has some. So Scott, I did hear what you said about bringing up some problems with the current contract. It was extended with a letter of understanding, a signed letter of understanding?
it was an MOU, yes.
Okay. So do you want me to email it to you, or do you want me to drop it?
I can discuss it with other members of the community, because they may have some perspective. It'd be nice to have one document,
That's fine.
if possible.
Okay.
Can I have a copy of your concerns?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's just language, it's like open-ended language, so.
Sure.
And it's one of those like, the sick leave I mean, that's a huge financial burden that the district hasn't forecasted. So if somebody were to retire medically, say something happened to you and you retired medically, according to the MOU, it's just an open-ended, there needs to be some caps and measures put into place. And I understand that the employees will be like, hey, this is our contractor coming after our benefits. I get it, I totally do. Especially when you're coming from a public entity and you guys, I feel bad because you guys have been in the news for, everybody here's a Third Water District, like, oh, not a good place to be because there's no water out there. It's not about that, it's about trying to make you guys be able to retain employees because there's nothing worse than having turnover, it's more expensive. So a good contract is good for you guys, but it also needs to be financially responsible for the people who will end up paying for it. So yeah, believe me, my heart is for the employees because I know what it's like to work for an employer where you definitely need a contract. Get it? I get it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we're gonna move into closed session. It is 6:25. The closed session, would you like to leave?
You've got the notes to report what we discussed, anything. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We received a proposal from the union, and we will prepare a counter proposal for negotiation. We voted to accept another application to set up an interview for the general manager position. And I'd like to we can make a motion.
For what?
Okay, so we voted.
Yeah,
To accept
we
it.
did
We're gonna
that
set up
in
the
closed
interview,
session.
and that's our,
So then, any public comment?
public comment?
Why?
I didn't think so. Okay. we're
No,
gonna-
why?
She has applied.
Why did we accept a new application?
Was it just a late submittal?
Meets all the qualifications.
Well, why didn't you meet the
Should
qualifications
we
last
share
time?
with them?
They can share that.
We can
You
share.
can,
You can tell them the status.
At the last, closed session, when we went through the 13, 14 applications, we narrowed it down to our top picks.
Mhm.
And then had the majority of them fall away, withdraw their applications. That then forced us to look into other options. And, this happened just, Chuck was saying, today. So we're gonna proceed with this option, and hopefully there'll be some fruit come of it.
So how many applicants do we have to interview at this point?
One,
Oh, Jesus.
We're back to one?
we have one.
So we should have just stuck with last month's prognosis.
It's a step forward.
This is different.
Yeah.
We meet the qualifications, and it is agreeable.
We can't share more than that right now. Yes.
Question on the other thing that you guys
Negotiation?
negotiations. So when you give them their counter quote, are you going to, is there some stage of the game where we get to look at what you're counter proposing to them?
After we work through a number of issues, yes. Now, their proposal does not have a time frame for our response. And most of us feel that we need to be addressing more important issues like the general manager, the upcoming, board meeting next Wednesday that's gonna have a lot of different things on the agenda. And then we're gonna be needing to do, research to, craft the, response, the counter proposal.
And we will submit a written proposal, so we are beginning to work on a written counter proposal.
And can we submit some input from the last MOU, on some things for you to look at?
yeah,
Absolutely.
we've been waiting for it.
Yes, that was, I thought we had that cleared up in open time, that we wanted your input.
Okay.
Your suggestions, your
We can-
concerns.
Now, we're gonna confirm, no, What can we confirm, Bill, with regards to what we currently have? Do we want to touch that or not? Our current status.
I'm confused.
We have to get together. We appreciate your input. We're gonna prepare a written proposal.
Okay. But not until you get other,
We've got to do some research. We've got a lot of things that we need to work on in order to get this, in order.
Bring your concerns though, there are probably some of our concerns also, the things that we'll be working on.
okay,
But if you bring up something that I wasn't aware of or hadn't thought of, I appreciate that. We'll bring that into closed session and draft out what we, the response that we feel is appropriate.
okay.
Thank you.
So Bill, do you want a copy of our concerns too?
Yes, please.
You can actually get it to Bill and we will receive it from
Anything else?
When are you back in the office, Bill?
him.
We were trying to give him some time off. He was gonna be
Maybe
busy up
Wednesday?
with the treatment plan.
I know that, that's why I'm asking.
I mean, I can make myself available for certain things, but
Could it be done by email
if
to Bill?
you wanna hand deliver something to me, I
Yeah.
can.
No, not by hand. Too much, I took the old MIU and we worked on it.
So when, Bill, did you say you'd be back Wednesday? Is that what
The
you said?
meeting, yes.
Yeah, I'll be at the meeting on Wednesday.
Oh, but then you're planning on being gone after that?
Well,
Again?
by gone, I mean the treatment plant,
Oh, okay.
so,
He's still around.
yeah. You can come up there and visit.
Okay, we good?
We'll pass.
Okay. meeting
Yeah, we have
adjourned.
everything.
I do. It's free.
It is
7:41.
7:41.
One.
Thank you.